Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Lisa. This is Beyond Authentic, where we go beyond the PR hype to give you an authentic review. Now, if that sounds like something you'll be interested in watching, why not hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, so that YouTube lets you know each and every time I upload a video. Now, today's video is actually one that's very, very important to me. This is being released on Trans Day of Visibility. Now, there are 2 days in the trans calendar that are kind of polar opposites of each other. So at the end of March, we have Trans Day of Visibility. Now, the idea of that is that for trans people that are able to, we stand up and basically say, hi, I'm trans, and it's like standing up and being visible and not being silenced. Whereas Trans Day of Remembrance, which is on the 20th of November, is when we honour the victims of murders worldwide, because there is a massive problem of trans people being murdered just for being trans, non-binary or gender variant. So what is Trans Day of Visibility? Well, basically Trans Day of Visibility is exactly what it says on the tin. It is a day when trans, non-binary, gender fluid and gender variant folk get to stand up and basically say that we are here. We get to acknowledge our gender identity in a very public forum if it is safe to do so. Now, that's a key thing, because not everybody watching this in every country is safe to do so. Not everybody watching this in the UK is safe to do so. So it is all about standing up where you're able to and just saying that trans people exist and that we are actually part of the wider community. So then, why am I wanting to do this video? Well, as you know, I am a trans woman. I am very openly trans. I don't tend to bang on about it, but I do talk about it where it's relevant in some of my videos. Now, that's caused me a lot of problems here on YouTube. It's caused me a lot of problems in real life. I have had hate crimes. I have been the victim of hate crime numerous times. And so for me, standing up and being visible, I'm 6'2". I'm always going to be visible, let's be honest. But standing up for my rights and standing up and basically saying that, yeah, actually, do you know what? I am trans, but I'm also a Doctor Who fan. I'm also a sci-fi fan. I'm also a witch. I'm also into makeup. I'm also into, you know, I'm a dog mum. All of those things are part of me. My trans identity is part of me, but it's not all of me, and that's something that I really want to get across. So while it's not the be all and end all of my identity, it is a very big part of it, and that's why I wanted to do this video today. But today I wanted to do my face just using either trans and non-binary gender fluid owned brands, or brands that are very, very vocal in the support of our community, or collaborations with well-known trans YouTubers. You can guess which palette I'm going to be using for that one. Okay, so for my primer, I'm going to be using my favourite primer at the moment, which is the Jecca Blac Glow Drops. Now, I am immensely proud to be a brand ambassador for Jecca Blac. If you don't know, Jecca Blac is a brand which is all about gender inclusion. So there are cisgender men and women in their campaigns. There are non-binary folk. There are trans people. There are trans people employed by the company. All the way through, they are a very, very inclusive brand, and I love that. So for me, to be honest, I loved these drops before I even knew anything about the brand, and before I even sort of had the discussions about brand ambassadorship. So for me, the drops, the actual products, are what drew me to this brand first of all, and it was later, after doing some research, that I was like, oh, okay, I like this brand. So how I use these is pretty much like any other illuminating primer, really. So I put some on the back of my hand, like so. I'm using the rose pearl ones. They do also have a champagne-y variant, which is even more glittery. Okay, so all I do is take the glow drops and just put them kind of all over my face, just to give it a good covering, really. A good splattering of the glow drops. Then I just take a beauty sponge and just bounce those in. So then, you may well see I am wearing lots of different coloured items and that today with flags on. Now, I'm actually wearing the trans flag on my t-shirt, which is the blue, pink, white, pink, blue. It says proud to be trans, and also on my little heart here. I don't know whether you can see that little flag there. That is the non-binary flag. It's also represented in my earrings, which is yellow, white, purple and black. And then this bracelet is purple, white and green, which is the genderqueer flag. Now, you might be thinking, why is it important to have all these different flags when surely they all mean the same thing? Well, they don't. And this is the thing, gender identity is so diverse. It is absolutely on a spectrum. So you can have people that are cisgender, and if you don't know what cisgender means, cisgender is basically somebody whose gender identity matches their genitals. So if you were born with a penis, you identify as a boy, you grow up as a man, you identify that way, then you're cisgender basically. And the same is true if you were born with a vagina, you grew up as a girl, and you identify as a woman. So that is cisgender. Basically, it's just a way of saying not trans, not gender diverse, not non-binary, not genderqueer, all of those other identities. So I am a trans woman. So what does that actually mean? Well, basically what that means is that when I was born, the doctor looked between my legs, saw that there was a little outie rather than an innie, and said, hurrah, this child is going to grow up and earn 35% more than his sister. I know, right? But basically they identified me as male, they identified me as a boy, and then basically said that I would be growing up to be a man, all of that, and so suddenly society had all of this preconceived idea of what I should be. However, that didn't quite fit with who I am. So at some point, and it was in my late teens, I'd been questioning my otherness for a long time, and it wasn't until, as I say, my late teens, early 20s that I suddenly went, oh, it's my gender that's different. Oh, that makes sense. And it was literally like it hit me like a ton of bricks. As soon as that clicked, it was like the final piece in the jigsaw puzzle that unlocks the entire picture. And so that was how it was for me. I started transitioning in my 30s after trying in my 20s, but having some issues with the gender clinic. So I then started transitioning in my late 30s. So that's trans. Now trans is actually an umbrella term which has a bit like religion. So when we say Christian, there's lots of different denominations under it, and the same with trans. Trans is kind of like an umbrella term, and then there's lots of different variants underneath that. So what does non-binary mean? Non-binary means that somebody doesn't identify as either male or female. They might identify in the exact middle, they might identify either end of that spectrum, but the idea is there is a spectrum, and non-binary people exist somewhere in that spectrum. It's literally non-binary. So it isn't one or the other. So there's a wide range of identities, and there's plenty more out there. Seriously, if you are interested, or if you have a family member or a friend who comes out as trans, non-binary, genderqueer, gender fluid, whatever, then do a bit of research. Like, Google is your friend on this. There is so much information out there now. Do please go and do your research. It really does help. But for, I guess, most of the people that are watching this, they will identify as cisgender, which just means the gender that you were assigned at birth. Quite a simple term really, isn't it? Because I was talking, I didn't actually cover my full face properly, but there you go. I really like this glowy finish that this primer gives me. I think it's a really pretty finish. So yeah, I think that is actually a really nice finish. I am going to go in with the Correct and Conceal palette by Jecca Blac, and mine is in the shade Medium 2.0. There's a whole video that I've done using all of these products over on the Jecca Blac website, so I will link it up here in the corner, so do please go and check that out. It was a little bit cheeky because they actually said, oh, it's tips and tricks for mature trans women, and I kind of went, oh, I guess I am, aren't I? Oops. So yeah, my initial response was a bit like, mature? How dare they? But yeah, it was funny. Right, so I'm going to go in with the colour correcting side just a little bit, and I'm going to use the back of my beauty sponge and just pick up some of that product. Now these are quite thick cream products, which I do really like. I'm just putting a little bit just here where I've got some redness on my cheeks. And then also just around my chin and around my mouth. Now, I've had laser treatment, so I don't actually get any kind of beard coverage that I need to cover up or anything, so I'm really lucky when it comes to that, but this is really good for that as well. I'm taking a little bit more, and I'm going to place it just under my eyes, just to kind of help colour correct that sort of blue that comes under there, because obviously if you want to colour correct blue, which is either can be for beard shadow, which is where you get that sort of grey look, or for the bags under your eyes where sometimes you get that blue, then you want to use something with a sort of peachy undertone. I wouldn't necessarily go for the bright reds and bright oranges and all of that, but just with a slight peachy undertone is kind of all you need. So then I'm going to go in with a flat brush, and I'm going to take the conceal side, and I'm just going to place that under here as well. So I just use that, and it just colour corrects and just helps go on as a a really nice concealer, and as you see, as soon as I go over those glowy drops, it absolutely just blends everything in nicely. I am in fact going to use a little bit of foundation. I'm currently using up some of my Rimmel Match Perfection. It's not my favourite foundation in the world at all, but yeah, I'm just going to use a little bit of that, so 2 pumps of that and just a little tiny bit of the glow drops, because although I don't want to be glowing for the gods all over my face, I do kind of want to have kind of a dewy look. Okay, so the foundation is now on. I'm just going to go in with a setting powder and just put a little bit of that all over and just set that down, just to kind of help keep it all in place and just to help fill in those lines. But you can see how kind of glowy and dewy that still looks, and you'll see once I mattify it, it kind of, once I put the powder on, it still has that kind of glow from within. It just doesn't look as wet. So you see that now just looks like my skin but better. So this is why I really like these glow drops. For me, they work absolutely fantastically well. And you know, on this channel, if I recommend something, it's because I genuinely like it and genuinely do use it. That's what the Authentic Army is all about. So if you don't know, do just go and check down in the description box. There's a little list of some amazing content creators. We're kind of bonding together to create the Authentic Army, where we will tell it as it is, warts and all, whether we like a product, whether we don't, without that PR kind of element kicking in and kind of swaying our opinions. So if you like honest reviews, do check out the channels just down below. So for blush and contour, I'm actually going to be using, this is going to be really controversial, and I literally had to kind of sit down with myself and decide whether or not I was going to get this palette, because it is very controversial, but I did get it on the second-hand market, so therefore I don't mind too much. It is the Too Faced with Nikkie Tutorials Power of Makeup palette. If you don't know the drama behind this, they did her dirty. They absolutely did her dirty. They did this whole campaign, this whole palette, which is actually quite a decent colour range, quite a nice sort of looking palette, and they really did do Nikkie dirty. I think they paid her something like $50,000 when in fact the campaign went on to sell millions of dollars of product. So yeah, they really did do a pull a fast one for Nikkie. But anyway, she did recover, and there is another palette that I'm going to be getting to in a minute, which is her kind of redemption really. So this is the Too Faced one. Now this had some scathing reviews for the eyeshadow, so I'm not going to use the eyeshadows, but I am going to use the 2 blushes and the contour shade just here. So I'm actually going to mix the I Will Always Love You and Justify My Love, both of these sort of the peachy one and the pinky one. I'm going to use these as my blush, so take it all the way up, and that is quite pink, as you can see. So I'll do the same on the other side, but I will veil it down in due course, because I do think that is very intensely pink, and I wasn't kind of expecting that, but anyway, that'll be fine. We'll veil it in a minute. I also want to talk about kind of people feeling that trans folk have to come out all the time, and again, as I'm using the Nikkie Tutorials palette, it kind of seems a reasonably good time to talk about that, because obviously Nikkie came out last year, and she was kind of forced out, wasn't she? There were all sorts of issues that she went through. I'm going to use a little bit of this peach one with this one just as a bronzer, just to kind of take both of these colours together. So yeah, because Nikkie was forced out, it kind of wasn't her choice to come out. And that's something that there's been a lot of controversy over. Now, as I said before, I'm 6'2". I mean, actually, technically, so is Nikkie Tutorials, which is an amazing fact. I had to make a decision that if I was going to transition, I would have to do so publicly. I would have to do so and be prepared to stand up and say, yeah, I'm trans, and big deal. And that was a really hard decision, and that's actually what stopped me transitioning in my 20s and meant that for about 15 or 16 years I lived in hell. I lived in absolute hell, knowing that I should be transitioning, knowing that I should be living my authentic life, but feeling that I wasn't able to, and that was so bad for my mental health. It was so disastrous for my entire life. It was a really, really tough period of my life before I finally worked out that actually, do you know what, being a trans woman is no different to being a white woman or a Christian woman or a middle-aged woman or a black woman. It's just a modifier of the term woman. It just tells somebody what type of woman I am. And once that clicked in my head, it was like, oh, well, there you go. I'm a middle-aged trans white woman. I'm a middle-aged trans white British woman, you know, and oh well, just another one of those labels to stick on it, isn't it? And once I got my head around the fact that actually it's no big deal, that then allowed me to transition. So for me, like, that identity is a massive part of who I am, but again, it is only part of who I am. But once I came to terms with being identified that way, it was like, okay, all right then, let's just get on with it, shall we? So yeah, so that was my whole drama about coming out. And I mean, obviously it was more intense than that because it did go on for 15 odd years. So yeah, it was a difficult time, that's all I'm going to say. Right, I'm going in with the Chocolate Soleil colour. This is that darker contour colour. I'm just using the Morphe MB4 brush, and I'm just gonna, it's just an fat angled brush. I'm just going to build that up just there as a contour colour. I've got to say, with a lot of Too Faced, the products are very, very heavily scented, and this is no different. This is very, very heavily scented. It's looking a bit muddy there, isn't it? I mean, I did put a fair bit on, but it is looking quite muddy. Right, anyway, take a little bit down onto my neck, onto my chin, and just try and deal with those extra chins that we've all got in a bit of lockdown, haven't we? Right, so that is that for that, and I'm going on to highlighter. Now this is a much better collaboration that Nikki did. This is her collab with Ofra. This is in the shade Space Baby, and it is absolutely stunning. It is an ice white with a hint of blue. It just pulls ever so slightly to the blue shift. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see that on camera. Maybe, but it is absolutely stunning in person. It is a really, really beautiful shade. And I know what you're thinking, Lisa, you're doing all of this before you've done your eyes. And that is true. That is kind of how I like to roll these days. So there we go, just put that on. You can see, look at that, it is absolutely beaming. I think it is stunning, but it is not a highlighter if you are scared of highlighter. You've got to be really confident with this. Tiny bit on and it does that, but you can see probably on my face that it pulls a little bit ice blue, which I really, really like, especially for today's look. Right then, we're going to go on to the eyeshadow palette now, and what else can I possibly use? It is the Nikkie Tutorials Beauty Bay collaboration. I know, right? This video should be sponsored by Nikkie Tutorials. I wish that she even knew who I was. But anyway, this is an absolutely stunning palette. If you saw the videos last year when this first came out, I did a video doing the swatches, and I did a video with a look. I also gave one of these away. I think this is absolutely stunning. It's not the easiest palette to work with if you're a beginner. It is a pressed pigment palette, so some of the colours are very, very bold, and you've got to be very, very delicate with your brush when you dip in, but this is absolutely stunning. I love it so much. And this, if you don't know, this is what it looks like. I'll link the videos up here, by the way, if you want to go and see the reviews and things that I did, because I think it is a stunning, stunning palette. So then, I'm going to take this Periwinkle Blue, which is called Plot Twist, which is this one just here. The other thing I really liked about this palette is that there's two mirrors. So the pink side is just the sort of standard mirror, but the black one is actually 3 times magnification. So that is very, very useful, and I really, really like that. And then, of course, you actually can see the colours go from the bright side across to the darker side of Nikkie's personality, apparently. So yeah, I think it's gorgeous. I think it's absolutely stunning. Right, so we're going to go in with that Periwinkle Blue first of all, and it is a very, very delicate colour. It does take a little bit of building up. You can see it's still that very sort of cool blue, isn't it? That icy sort of blue, which I really like. Don't know if you can hear, Rufus is just watching some TikToks in the back room. So yeah, there you go. Look, that's building up ever so nice. It's a gentle colour. It is very much that sort of base colour that you can lay down and then put other colours on top and blend in, and I really, really do like it. I think it's such a pretty palette. I need to use this a lot more often. I should put it in one of my shop my stashes, actually. because I am very good with a Shop My Stash. I do, when I'm doing a Shop My Stash, unless I'm doing a particular face, like a full face Fenty or something, I do try very, very hard to stay using that palette and using those products. I very rarely have reached for anything else from my outside of the Shop My Stashes. So yeah, maybe this needs to go in so I can get a bit more use out of it. But to be fair, I just think this is beautiful, this palette. It's really, really pretty. Right then, we're going to take that up like so. It looks very 90s, doesn't it? It looks very 90s. It feels like I just need concealer lips and then I'm ready to go. Wow. Wow. Wasn't expecting that either. Right then, I'm going to dip in with a little bit of the sort of royal blue, and this is called Amsterdam, this one just here. And I'm just going to put that, just a tiny bit of that, as you can see, on the outer corner, and then just take that slightly, not all the way across the crease, but just take it slightly kind of into the crease, and then just build that up, just using kind of a patting motion, just on the outer corner. Now this is one of the colours that is very, very pigmented, so you only need the tiniest of tiniest amounts if you're just building it up like that. If you go ham, you'll absolutely get that royal blue colour coming straight off the brush. So I totally recommend to like literally dip in and then gently kind of pat it into place, and then kind of use that motion to pat and blend it out using a patting motion. I find that that is kind of the best way to get more of a gradiated look. Gradiated, is that a word? So yeah, just like that. It's kind of giving that blue and deepening up that periwinkle without it being too over the top. So I'm going to go in with a clean fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into the pink shade. This is Blend and Snap, and it's that bubblegum pink colour. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that on the brush. As you can see, it's very, very pigmented, and I'm going to place that on the inside corner, and then kind of blend that in with that periwinkle blue, with that Amsterdam colour, that darker blue, just so it kind of gives me a really nice colour. I know, right, again, going in for the pink and the blues, which is kind of going to turn into a purple, is one of my favourite kind of go-to colours, but you'll see it will sparkle in a minute. It will absolutely sparkle. Kind of being a little bit ham, really, I guess. When am I not? You know what I'm saying? Right, I do just want to make sure that there is quite a bit of that pink, so you've got the blue into the pink on both sides. Really do like that, actually. Really do like these colours. Okay, so I know I said I was done with the Too Faced palette, but I actually want to use a matte white. So I'm going to go into this shade here, which is Ivy. I'm going to try that one out, just in the inner corner, just like so. Just to kind of almost cut off where I've put that pink, if you can see. You'll obviously be able to tell the kind of what I'm basing the look on today. Anyway, I'm going to go back in with the Nikkie palette for the Beauty Bay palette, and I'm going to take the shade, again, Ivy. This though is the shimmer shade, and it is absolutely beautiful, and I'm going to place that very carefully over where I've put the other Ivy. So I'm putting Ivy on top of Ivy. You've got to excuse my fingernails as well. I painted the nails in the flag, and then I managed to absolutely mess this one up just before I came on camera, and I didn't have time to redo it, unfortunately. But anyway, I'm going to place that, push that back in on the other eye as well. Just like so. So where that's showing up. In person, that is absolutely pop. Oh yeah, you can see it absolutely popping now. Look, in my inner corner. I'm going to take the shade Mama Tutorials, which is this sort of almost turquoisey kind of pale blue. This one just here. And I'm taking that on the edge of my finger as well. And I'm going to place that on my lid, but just on the outer corner. and just on the mobile lid. So I want to keep that other darker blue there, but I just want to add in that kind of baby blue, just like so. I think that is so pretty, such a pretty shade. Now you should all be getting exactly what I'm doing by now. If you haven't actually worked out the inspiration for this look, then you should absolutely have got it by now. And then I'm just going to take this other shade, which is Pride. Now it looks like a pink, but it's actually got a bit of a blue shift to it as well, but it is the only pink shimmer that's in this palette, but it is stunning. So again, taking it on my finger and just going in towards the inner corner. Okay, so my brows are now on, so I'm going to go with my eyeliner. I'm using the Dragun Beauty Dragon Wing liner, and this is actually quite a nice sort of pen nib type liner, and if I show you, it's actually quite a nice liner. It does go pour a little more sort of charcoal than it does jet black, but I don't mind that. Very easy to get a little wing. I've got to say, I don't have a lot of the Dragun Beauty products, not because I don't support Nikita Dragun, but because it's difficult to get hold of them here in the UK. Now I have tried on the Morphe website when they came out with the collab with Nikita for her palette. I wasn't going to get that because I don't like the Morphe formula, but they also started selling a limited range of the Dragun Beauty products, but every time I've tried to get them over the last month and a half ready to do this video, they've been sold out. So I did try ordering from the Dragun Beauty website, but the shipping costs are extortionate. So hopefully that can be sorted out in the future. Hopefully Morphe will have some more items in stock and I'll be able to try some more of the Dragun Beauty products. I'm kind of interested in the face powder palette. Yeah, kind of interested in that. I think it's called the Transformation palette or something. Kind of interested in that to see what that's all about. But I do have one other Dragun Beauty product which I will show you in a minute. I know, right? Spoilers. But anyway, this eyeliner I actually really like. It's gone on really, really nicely. Let me just touch that one up there, just a touch. There you go. I think it's actually a really nice, fairly easy to use eyeliner. So I do have some lashes. These are by Lvndr Boutique. These are gorgeous. These are in the style Besties, and I do think they're beautiful. Now, I won't be buying any more products from this brand, not because I don't support the brand, because I really, really do. These are a phenomenal brand. This is a phenomenal company, a small indie brand from the States. The woman that runs it is a black trans woman, and I absolutely support her and her company. I think that she does a phenomenal job, and these are really, really beautiful. The packaging, everything is really, really beautiful. These were about $20, I think, which for me works out at about £18, which is quite expensive for a pair of lashes. Then on top of that I had to pay about the same, I think it was about $20–25 in postage to the UK, but that was fine, including taxes and things. That was fine, except when they sent the package there was an error, and they actually sent it with the customs note saying that there were 4 pairs of lashes with a total price of $79, which took me over the UK customs limit, which meant I had a further fee of nearly £23 to pay. So this one set of lashes has ended up costing me over £55, so it was very expensive to get these. So for that reason I just can't justify spending that amount of money on one pair of lashes, which is a real shame, because I genuinely think that the brand is a really great brand and is doing some really lovely things. But there you go. Anyway, I'm going to pop these on off camera. As you can see, the lashes are on and I am living for them. They're very big, very dramatic, very glam, and I absolutely love them, to be honest with you. Why not go glam on a day like today, eh? Why not? So I'm going to go glam with my lips as well. So yeah, this is the colour that I've got. This is the Dragun Beauty Mini Lip Gloss, it's called, and it's actually a hydrating liquid lipstick. So there you go, that is the finished look. What do you think? I've got to say, it doesn't really go with just wearing a t-shirt, does it? I feel like I should be in some glam evening dress going to a big function. Maybe when lockdown's lifted we can do that, but there you go. I've got to say, I love the dramatic element. I love how bold the eyes are. I love the lashes. I love the lips. When I swatched it, I really wasn't sure about it on the lips, and I don't know whether it's going to pick up on camera, but it actually is it's kind of got that red but also a burgundy element to it, so it's got kind of almost like a shift in colour. It's absolutely beautiful. Very bold, very dark, I get you, but it is absolutely beautiful and stunning, and I love it. So I actually think all of these products, which is by many different brands, I think they work really well together, and I am very, very happy to be sat here with a full face just about of trans supportive and trans inclusive brands. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. Do please leave your comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the look. Also, do let me know if there are any brands that I have missed. If you are aware of any trans, non-binary, gender fluid brands, particularly if they're indie brands that I have not checked out, please do drop me a message down in the comment section and I will be sure to have a look for them for a future video. But that is it from me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and as I always say, stay you, stay safe, stay authentic, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. It's a narcissistic slow motion montage.